Welcome. The Mercury dime may look like an ordinary piece of silver, but seasoned collectors know its biggest secrets are hidden in the smallest details. Stay with us as we take a closer look at what experts examine first, and why a handful of authenticated examples stand out from millions that seem almost identical. First, coin. Few American coins create as much quiet fascination among seasoned collectors as the 1930s Mercury dime. At first glance, it appears to be just another small silver coin from the early 20th century, worn smooth by decades of circulation and easily overlooked in a box of old change. Yet beneath its modest appearance lies a story shaped by economic uncertainty, careful mint production, and decades of collector demand. The San Francisco Mint struck this dime during one of the most challenging periods in modern American history, and surviving examples now occupy a unique place in the Mercury dime series. As this story unfolds, you'll discover what authenticated examples have actually sold for, why certain pieces command dramatically stronger prices than others, and how specialists determine whether a particular 1930s Mercury dime deserves ordinary attention or serious numismatic respect. The year 1930 stood at a crossroads for the United States. Only months had passed since the devastating stock market crash of 1929, and the nation was beginning to experience the deep economic hardships that would become known as the Great Depression. Businesses failed, unemployment climbed, and consumer spending slowed dramatically. Even though commerce was shrinking, the federal government still needed coins to support everyday transactions, replacing worn pieces and maintaining a stable currency supply. The San Francisco Mint continued operating with remarkable precision despite changing economic conditions, producing coinage for the western states where demand remained steady enough to justify continued minting. Unlike many earlier issues that reflected periods of booming industrial expansion, the 1930s Mercury dime quietly entered circulation during a time when Americans were becoming increasingly cautious with every dollar they earned and every dime they spent. The Mercury dime itself was never intended to depict the Roman messenger god Mercury, despite the nickname collectors have used for generations. Officially, the obverse portrays liberty wearing a winged Phrygian cap, with the wings symbolizing freedom of thought rather than mythology. The design was created by renowned sculptor Adolf A. Weinman, whose artistic vision transformed American coinage beginning in 1916. His portrait remains one of the most admired in United States numismatic history because it combines classical elegance with unmistakable American symbolism. The reverse features a fasces representing national unity and governmental authority tied together with leather bands, alongside an olive branch that symbolizes peace. During the politically uncertain years between two world wars, the pairing of strength and peace carried particular meaning. Every genuine 1930s Mercury dime was struck in an alloy containing 90% silver and 10% copper, weighing approximately 2.5 grams, measuring 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and featuring a reeded edge that also discouraged the illegal shaving of precious metal. Collectors often pay close attention to mintages because production totals influence long-term availability, and the 1930s offers an interesting balance between scarcity and accessibility. The San Francisco Mint produced just over 1.8 million examples, a relatively modest figure compared with many Philadelphia issues of the same era. While that number does not automatically make every surviving coin rare, decades of heavy circulation dramatically reduced the population of attractive examples. Most pieces entered everyday commerce immediately and remained there for years, collecting scratches, worn details, and countless contact marks before eventually disappearing through loss, melting, or government redemption. As a result, sharply preserved mint state examples are considerably less common than the original production numbers might suggest. This combination of moderate mintage and extensive circulation explains why collectors pursuing complete Mercury dime sets consistently seek high-quality examples of the 1930s. Condition plays an extraordinary role in determining collector interest, and understanding grading standards is essential before discussing market values. A heavily circulated good or very good example still displays its date and mint mark, but shows substantial wear across Liberty's portrait and the fasces on the reverse. Fine and very fine pieces reveal stronger feather details on the winged cap and clearer vertical bands within the fasces. Extremely fine and about uncirculated coins retain much sharper design elements, with only limited wear on the highest points. Once a coin reaches mint state, it has no actual circulation wear, although contact marks from storage and handling inside mint bags remain important grading considerations. Among Mercury Dimes, specialists also prize examples displaying full bands, often abbreviated as FB, meaning the horizontal bands binding the fasces remain fully separated and sharply struck. Achieving that designation requires exceptional strike quality rather than simply clean surfaces, making certified full bands examples substantially more desirable. Because quality varies so dramatically, values can differ by thousands of dollars even among coins sharing the same date and mint mark. An authenticated circulated example with honest wear may trade in the neighborhood of roughly $1,100 to $1,600 when attractive and problem-free, while a certified mint state coin with strong eye appeal can often realize between approximately $2,400 and $3,800, depending on its grade and market demand. Exceptionally preserved examples carrying high mint state grades and the coveted full bands designation have occasionally crossed the auction block for substantially stronger amounts, especially when certified by respected third-party grading services. Those remarkable auction records reflect extraordinary preservation, rarity within the certified population, and intense competition among advanced collectors. They should never be interpreted as evidence that every 1930s Mercury dime possesses comparable value, because authenticity, originality, grading accuracy, and current collector demand ultimately determine what an individual coin is worth. One of the reasons specialists remain captivated by this issue is the remarkable variation in strike quality produced at the San Francisco Mint. Although the dies were carefully prepared, differences in striking pressure, die wear, and production efficiency created coins ranging from softly detailed to impressively sharp. Collectors carefully examine Liberty's hair above the ear, the central wing feathers, and the horizontal bands on the reverse to judge strike strength. Luster also becomes increasingly important in mint state grades. Original coins display vibrant cartwheel luster that rotates across the surface as the coin is tilted under light. Cleaning, polishing, or chemical dipping can permanently alter that natural appearance, reducing both desirability and market value. Some surviving examples have developed beautiful peripheral toning in shades of gold, blue, lavender, or soft rose after decades inside old albums or paper envelopes. While toning itself does not guarantee a premium, naturally developed coloration with undisturbed surfaces often enhances collector appeal. Authentication has become increasingly important because counterfeiters recognize the strong demand for scarce silver coinage. Modern forgeries may begin as cast copies or altered genuine coins, carrying added mint marks intended to imitate more valuable issues. Careful examination under magnification can reveal incorrect mint mark placement, porous surfaces, casting bubbles, inconsistent lettering, or unnatural tool marks. Genuine pieces exhibit crisp design elements appropriate for Weinman's original artwork, correct weight, proper diameter, and the distinctive metallic characteristics of a 90% silver alloy. Experienced numismatists frequently recommend verification through respected grading services, which evaluate authenticity, assign a professional grade, and encapsulate the coin in tamper-evident holders. Although no authentication process can guarantee future market performance, professional certification significantly increases buyer confidence, particularly for higher-value Mercury dimes that regularly appear at major auctions and specialized dealer inventories. Collectors also enjoy searching for unusual mint errors and die varieties associated with the Mercury dime series, even though spectacular errors involving the 1930s are genuinely scarce. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, lamination flaws, retained die breaks, and dramatic die cracks occasionally surface, but they remain exceptions rather than the rule. Any claimed error should be examined carefully because post-mint damage is far more common than authentic production mistakes. Even without an error, originality remains one of the most important characteristics influencing long-term desirability. Coins that have escaped abrasive cleaning, artificial tunning, harsh environmental exposure, or improper repairs generally command stronger interest from knowledgeable buyers. Proper preservation therefore becomes essential. Handling should always occur by the edges to avoid fingerprints, while long-term storage inside inert archival holders with stable temperature and humidity helps preserve delicate silver surfaces from corrosion, discoloration, and unnecessary physical damage. Today, the 1930s Mercury Dime occupies a respected position within one of America's most beloved silver coin series because it combines compelling history, moderate scarcity, artistic excellence, and lasting collector demand. Completing a high-quality Mercury Dime set requires patience, research, and careful attention to certified grades, making this San Francisco issue a memorable milestone for many enthusiasts. Whether discovered in an inherited collection, purchased from a reputable dealer, or acquired through a competitive auction, every genuine example reflects a tangible connection to Americans who navigated the uncertain opening chapter of the Great Depression, carrying these small silver coins in their pockets. The strongest prices continue to belong to authenticated coins with exceptional preservation, original surfaces, and superior strike quality, while more modest examples remain cherished for their historical significance rather than extraordinary financial value alone. That enduring balance between history, rarity, artistry, and disciplined authentication is precisely why the 1930s Mercury Dime continues to command admiration nearly a century after it first left the presses of the San Francisco Mint. Next coin. Small silver coin struck in San Francisco during one of the most uncertain moments in modern American history has quietly become one of the most closely examined pieces in the Mercury Dime series. The 1941 Mercury Dime rarely attracts attention from casual observers because millions were produced, yet experienced collectors know that the finest surviving examples tell a far more complicated story than the mintage figures suggest. Tiny differences in strike quality, surface preservation, original luster, and certification can separate an ordinary collectible from a coin pursued by advanced specialists. As this story unfolds, you'll discover why this issue has earned lasting respect among numismatists, what characteristics experts search for before assigning collector value, and what authenticated examples have brought when they appeared in competitive auctions. By 1941, the United States had not yet officially entered the Second World War, but the conflict overseas was already reshaping the nation's economy. American factories were rapidly expanding production to supply military equipment for Allied nations under the Lend-Lease program, while industries that had struggled during the Great Depression were experiencing renewed demand. Employment was improving, manufacturing centers were becoming busier, and commerce required enormous quantities of circulating coinage. The San Francisco Mint, serving much of the western United States, responded by producing millions of dimes needed for everyday business. Only months after these coins entered circulation, the attack on Pearl Harbor transformed the nation's role in world history, giving every 1941 Mercury Dime an undeniable connection to one of America's most pivotal transitional years. The Mercury Dime had already earned widespread admiration long before the 1941 issue was struck. Introduced in 1916 and designed by celebrated sculptor Adolph A. Weinman, the coin represented a dramatic departure from earlier American designs. Although generations of collectors have called it the Mercury Dime, the portrait actually depicts Liberty wearing a winged Phrygian cap, a symbol of freedom of thought rather than the Roman god Mercury. Weinman's artistic vision reflected the spirit of a confident nation while incorporating classical influences that remain visually striking more than a century later. The reverse displays a fasces wrapped with horizontal bands beside an olive branch, combining symbols of national strength and peaceful intentions. Every genuine 1941 Mercury dime was struck from an alloy containing 90% silver and 10% copper, weighs approximately 2.5 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters across, and features a reeded edge designed to discourage the clipping of precious metal. The San Francisco Mint produced more than 43 million Mercury dimes dated 1941, making this issue far more available than some of the celebrated low mintage dates within the series. On paper, those production figures suggest that the coin should be common in all grades, but experienced collectors know that survival numbers tell a different story. The overwhelming majority entered circulation almost immediately, where they spent years passing from hand to hand through grocery stores, banks, restaurants, and payroll envelopes. Continuous commercial use gradually wore away Liberty's facial details, softened the wing feathers, and reduced the sharpness of the fasces on the reverse. Although circulated examples remain relatively obtainable today, truly exceptional mint state survivors, with outstanding eye appeal and strong strikes, represent only a tiny fraction of the original production. That distinction between ordinary preservation and extraordinary preservation explains why grading plays such an important role in determining desirability. A circulated example graded fine still displays the major design elements, but shows obvious wear across Liberty's hair, cheek, and cap. Very fine and extremely fine coins reveal increasingly stronger details, while about uncirculated examples retain nearly all of their original design with only slight friction on the highest points. Mint state pieces, by definition, show no circulation wear at all, although they may exhibit contact marks acquired during handling at the mint. Specialists evaluating the 1941 pay particularly close attention to the horizontal bands binding the fasces. When those bands are completely separated and sharply defined, the coin may qualify for the coveted full bands designation, an attribute that reflects exceptional strike quality rather than simple preservation. Because relatively few coins achieve this distinction, certified full bands examples consistently command stronger collector interest. Once grading and strike quality enter the conversation, collector values begin to spread dramatically. An authenticated mint state example with attractive surfaces, but without the full bands designation, may bring somewhere around $1,150 to $1,700, depending on its certified grade, originality, and current market demand. Coins displaying stronger luster, cleaner surfaces, and higher certified mint state grades frequently trade between approximately $2,300 and $3,600 when supported by respected third-party grading services. These figures are not fixed prices, and they fluctuate as collector demand changes. Exceptional auction appearances involving superbly preserved full-band specimens have realized significantly stronger results, but those outcomes reflect rare combinations of elite preservation, superior strike, outstanding eye appeal, and verified certification, rather than the average 1941 Mercury dime found in a typical collection. Surface quality often becomes the deciding factor when advanced collectors compete for this issue. Freshly struck Mercury dimes originally displayed vibrant cartwheel luster flowing across both sides of the coin as light moved over the silver surface. Decades of careful storage sometimes preserved that original brilliance, while improper cleaning permanently altered it. Hairline scratches from abrasive polishing, dull surfaces caused by harsh chemical treatments, or unnatural brightness created by overdipping can significantly reduce collector confidence, even when a coin technically remains uncirculated. Naturally toned examples frequently attract additional attention because long-term storage inside vintage coin albums or paper holders occasionally produced attractive shades of gold, violet, blue, champagne, or pale green around the edges. There is no formal color classification system for silver coins comparable to those used for copper, but originality and pleasing natural toning can substantially improve desirability when accompanied by undisturbed surfaces. Despite the popularity of the Mercury Dimes series, important dye varieties and dramatic mint errors specifically attributed to the 1941 S are limited. No widely recognized major double dye variety comparable to famous issues from other series has achieved broad acceptance for this date, and reliable references do not identify a celebrated rarity unique to the 1941 S. Genuine production errors such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, lamination defects, or significant die cracks occasionally appear because such mistakes can occur during normal mint operations. But they remain uncommon and require expert verification. Collectors should approach extraordinary claims with caution because damaged coins are often mistaken for valuable mint errors. Professional authentication remains essential whenever an unusual piece appears, particularly if someone suggests it represents a rare variety not documented by established numismatic research. Authentication has become increasingly important as counterfeit technology has improved. While the 1941 S is not among the most heavily counterfeited Mercury Dimes, deceptive copies and altered coins do exist in the marketplace. Specialists begin by confirming the coin's correct weight, diameter, composition, edge, and overall style before examining the placement and shape of the small S mint mark on the reverse. Genuine coins exhibit precise design details consistent with Weinmann's original models, while many counterfeit pieces reveal soft lettering, porous surfaces, incorrect fonts, or unnatural textures under magnification. Reputable third-party grading companies provide authentication, assign standardized grades, and encapsulate coins in tamper-evident holders that enhance buyer confidence. Proper preservation after certification remains equally important, with archival quality holders, low humidity, stable temperatures, and careful handling by the edges helping protect original surfaces from fingerprints, corrosion, and accidental damage. More than 8 decades after leaving the presses of the San Francisco Mint, the 1941 S. Mercury Dime continues to occupy a fascinating place in American numismatics because it bridges artistic excellence, wartime history, and the relentless pursuit of quality. Its large original mintage ensures that many collectors can own an example, yet the competition for beautifully preserved full-band specimens demonstrates how rarity often develops through survival rather than production alone. Every authenticated high-grade survivor represents an increasingly scarce combination of careful striking, fortunate preservation, and decades of responsible stewardship. Whether acquired as part of a complete Mercury Dime collection or appreciated as a historical artifact from the eve of America's entry into World War II, the coin reminds collectors that true value is never determined by a date and mint mark alone. Instead, it emerges from authenticity, condition, originality, eye appeal, certification, and the enduring enthusiasm of collectors who continue to recognize exceptional quality whenever it appears. Next coin. At first glance, the 1944 Mercury Dime hardly seems like the kind of coin that would inspire heated bidding at major auctions or endless discussion among experienced collectors. Millions were struck during the final years of World War II, and countless examples circulated through ordinary American hands without anyone giving them a second thought. Yet seasoned numismatists know this seemingly common silver dime can reveal an extraordinary amount about history, craftsmanship, and rarity if you know exactly where to look. The real story isn't obvious from the date alone. It unfolds through tiny details hidden in the strike, the surfaces, the mint mark, and the condition. As we examine this coin together, you'll see why authenticated examples receive such close scrutiny and why only certain survivors have earned remarkable collector recognition. The investigation begins in 1944, when the United States was fully committed to World War II. Factories across the country were operating around the clock to supply troops overseas, while civilians supported the war effort through rationing, bond purchases, and industrial production. Despite the enormous demands placed on the nation's resources, everyday commerce continued, requiring billions of coins to circulate through banks, businesses, and payroll offices. Unlike the wartime Lincoln cent, which briefly changed its composition in 1943 before returning to bronze in 1944, the Mercury dime remained unchanged because silver was still considered practical for this denomination. Every genuine 1944 Mercury dime represents a small but tangible connection to a nation balancing military necessity with the realities of daily economic life. Before examining rarity, experienced collectors first identify where the coin was struck. Mercury dimes dated 1944 were produced at 3 different mints. Philadelphia struck coins without a mint mark, Denver placed a small D on the reverse, and San Francisco added an S in the same location. The mint mark appears near the lower left side of the fasces, just above the word 1 on the reverse, and its placement is one of the first details authentication experts inspect. Philadelphia produced well over 231 million pieces, Denver struck more than 62 million, and San Francisco contributed more than 41 million examples. Those figures suggest that none of the 3 issues are classic low-mintage rarities, but production totals tell only part of the story. What matters today is how many survived with exceptional quality after decades of circulation and storage. The artistic details deserve equally close attention because they reveal whether a coin retains the sharpness collectors expect. Designed by the acclaimed sculptor Adolf A. Weinman, the obverse portrays Liberty wearing a winged Phrygian cap, symbolizing freedom of thought rather than the Roman messenger Mercury, despite the nickname that has followed the series for generations. The reverse combines a fasces, representing national unity and lawful authority, with an olive branch expressing peace. Every authentic 1944 Mercury dime contains 90% silver and 10% copper, weighs approximately 2.5 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and features a reeded edge. Those specifications are more than technical details. They provide important benchmarks during authentication because significant deviations in weight or dimensions may indicate damage, alteration, or counterfeit manufacture. Now the investigation becomes more personal because experienced collectors never stop with the date and mint mark. Instead, they carefully study how the coin was actually struck. Look closely at Liberty's hair, the feathers on the winged cap, the lettering around the rim, and especially the horizontal bands tying the fasces together on the reverse. Strongly struck coins display crisp separation throughout these areas, while weaker strikes leave some details flat even before circulation begins. Among certified Mercury dimes, the coveted full bands designation is awarded only when the central horizontal bands remain fully separated and sharply defined. That designation reflects striking quality rather than simple preservation, making it one of the most important characteristics specialists seek when evaluating high-grade examples. Only after understanding those physical characteristics does the discussion naturally turn toward collector value. A certified mint, state 1944 Mercury dime, without the full bands designation, may sell in the neighborhood of roughly $1,250 to $1,800 when it possesses original surfaces and appealing luster. Better preserved examples with stronger strikes and higher certified grades frequently reach approximately $2,500 to $3,700, depending on eye appeal, originality, and current market demand. These figures represent typical collector markets rather than guarantees, and values continue to fluctuate as certified populations change and buyer interest evolves. Exceptional auction appearances involving elite-grade full-band specimens have realized substantially higher prices, but those extraordinary results belong only to authenticated coins with outstanding preservation and should never be viewed as representative of every 1944 Mercury dime. Surface preservation often determines whether a coin simply fills a collection or becomes a centerpiece. Freshly minted Mercury dimes originally displayed brilliant cartwheel luster created during the striking process as metal flowed into the dies under tremendous pressure. Over time, careless handling, abrasive cleaning, chemical treatments, or improper storage can permanently diminish that natural brilliance. Experienced collectors rotate the coin under light, searching for uninterrupted luster across both sides while also inspecting for hairline scratches, contact marks, stains, or evidence of polishing. Although silver coins are not assigned formal color classifications like copper coins, naturally developed tunning remains an important consideration. Gentle shades of gold, blue, violet, champagne, or soft gray formed over decades in stable storage often enhance eye appeal, while artificial tunning or aggressively bright surfaces usually reduce collector confidence. As the examination continues, attention shifts toward varieties, mint eras, and authenticity. Unlike certain famous United States coins, the regular 1944 Mercury dime is not associated with a widely recognized major double-die variety that dramatically transforms the issue. Likewise, no celebrated mint era defines the date. Genuine production mistakes such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, lamination defects, broad strikes, or significant die cracks occasionally exist because such errors naturally occur during minting, but they remain genuinely scarce and require professional verification. Collectors should remain cautious whenever dramatic claims accompany an uncertified coin, since post-mint damage is frequently mistaken for valuable errors. Reliable attribution depends on comparison with established numismatic references rather than speculation or wishful thinking. Counterfeit detection has become increasingly important as sophisticated reproductions continue appearing in the marketplace. Specialists begin by confirming the coin's precise weight, diameter, edge, and metallic appearance before examining the finer details of Weinmann's design under magnification. Genuine examples exhibit sharp lettering, correct spacing, and consistent design proportions that are difficult for counterfeiters to duplicate perfectly. Suspicious surfaces showing casting bubbles, porous texture, unusually soft details, or incorrect mint marks deserve careful evaluation before any purchase. Professional grading services provide authentication, standardized grading, and protective encapsulation that greatly improves buyer confidence. Once authenticated, the best method of preserving a Mercury dime involves storing it in archival quality holders within a stable, low-humidity environment, while handling it only by the edges to prevent fingerprints and accidental abrasion. The remarkable appeal of the 1944 Mercury dime ultimately comes from the way it rewards careful observation rather than quick assumptions. Millions were produced during one of the most significant years of World War II, yet only a comparatively small number survive today with exceptional strikes, untouched surfaces, original luster, and elite certified grades that attract advanced collectors. Every evaluation begins with the date, continues through the mint mark, expands into strike quality and preservation, and ends with a balanced assessment of authenticity, originality, eye appeal, and long-term demand. That investigative process explains why two coins bearing the same date can differ dramatically in desirability despite appearing nearly identical to an untrained eye. Far more than a simple wartime silver dime, the 1944 Mercury dime has become an enduring lesson in how history, craftsmanship, preservation, and careful numismatic study combine to create lasting collector interest across generations.